You asked the question, where is Bob Mully? And as usual, I took the assignment and went out to look for the amazing, the talented, the myth, the legend, the gem, the one and only Bob Mully. And right about now, I'm so excited to be seated right next to a legend on this here episode that is powered by Fast Mobile, and we are keeping it fast. And very mobile. Yeah. My man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's always electrifying being in your presence, man. This is nice. It's good to be here, man.
I'm really excited and I feel so blessed to be seated next to you because of your contribution to not only Zambian music itself, but also to my career, because you're one of those people that gave me the confidence to believe that I can make it in this industry. I remember working with you 20 years ago and featuring on your album.
Wow.
And
wow.
And I've never looked back ever since. I remember going to visit my friends in Kabwe with a Bob Mully tape.
Oh, yeah.
Just to show them where my name was written.
Nice, yeah. It's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, on a cassette like this, you know.
But it's exciting, but before you even go on, I want to give you your flowers. 20 years ago, when I met you, I think it was at the basketball court at Kabwe Cats, you were always vibrant. You were always that sharp, young, excited, full of energy and light. And for me, that speaks to me when I meet people. I always feel comfortable when people are being themselves, and I just want to say congratulations on your new appointment.
Thank you.
We are praying for you. We believe in you. I'm excited that you are in that seat because I believe the youth is the next the next big thing.
Wow.
So your experience, your wisdom, your charisma, your grace, and your Ubuntu inside, and how you've represented each and every person, not just in your career as a musician, but also as a social activist who always spoke the truth about certain things. And I just want to say we salute you. And
this man is trying to make me cry, man. I don't do very well with compliments.
No, you should, because
I don't know how to take them.
That's what you represent to most of us. But I'm excited to be here, man. I'm excited.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to have all of us cats from the back in the day and give us a platform to talk about where we are, where we're going, and where we've been.
Man, I love Zambian music, and I would do anything to save Zambian music from drowning or from going where it's not supposed to go. And I feel it's time that we appreciate you, our legends, for what you have done, because we are because you are. They are because you have been, paving way for the generation that's there today. And I know some people may think that they are very gifted, that's why they are where they are, but they might not understand that it's because there are people that labored, that never even had to enjoy a penny from the industry. If they are enjoying today, maybe they're enjoying because they ventured out to do other things. But it's important for people to understand that there is a foundation out there, and there are people like you that have done music from as far back as the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to unpack some of these stories. And I know we can't even exhaust this in 30 minutes or in an hour. So we'll just touch here and there, as one famous politician said, Tuala supawi la fie.
Tuala sansha. I like that.
Yeah. So let's take it back to the beginning. How did the name Bob Mully come about?
Bob Mully came from me listening to a lot of foreign music. My elder sister, was the first queen to be crowned Miss Kabwe back in the days. My brother used to play a lot of guitar. He was also a good dancer. My cousin was the best break dancer in the country when break dancing was a thing. So I come from a family of entertainment and sport. So Bob Mully came from me listening to Billy Ocean, Lionel Richie, Tina Turner, the Jackson 5, and all that music that was popular in the 90s. A little bit of Akim Simkonda, because he used to do a lot of cabaret at that time. So Bob Mully came from me loving Billy Ocean.
Wow.
I used to do a lot of Billy Oceans at school, at variety shows. I would sing the national anthem. I was a small boy. I was about maybe 6-7 years.
What was your favorite Billy Ocean line? Can you give us any snippet?
Can I even remember? If I could do any song, was "This is your love, always hold on. I will reach out, no matter where you are." That's
amazing stuff.
I already had a gift. I was singing even before I realized I was singing. So that's the music I grew up, and it shaped me. So that's where Bob came from. It came from Billy Ocean, and the entire my brother's friends call me Billy, hey, Billy, because I love that. So that's how I said, wait a minute, I need the stage name, and I couldn't use Mulwanda. Okay. So I said, it's too long, then it's too hard for people to pronounce. I said, okay.
So something close to Billy.
Yeah, so Billy, Bob is a nickname. Bob. Then Muli is the name of my village. That's where we come from.
Okay, Rwanda village?
Muli
village.
Yeah.
Oh.
Village Muli.
Okay.
So I said, wait a minute, Bob Mully, and I made one name. And that's how Muli was born.
Amazing
then
story.
My dad said, actually, Bob was his favorite uncle's name. He says, I've given that name to you as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you were listening and paying attention to that beautiful voice, that's the voice Makitu references when he says, "Iribe sweetie voice monga uja Bobu Mully."
I have a song. I have a hook with Makitu that we did years ago. I need to ask him where that song is.
He keeps saying this. I remember interviewing him on one of my shows called the Zed Encyclopedia Fan Game, and he said, if it were up to talent, Bob Mully would have probably been the biggest export out of Zambia, because he just doesn't understand how such a beautiful voice hasn't gone as far as we would want it to go. But of course, these are the dynamics of the industry that we are yet to talk about. How did you start singing, like officially, where you made a decision to say, now I want to venture into music?
I from being a grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, then the late 90s started coming in, and there was the Brian McKnights, Joe Thomas. Then I met Mainza. I think you know Mainza Chipenzi. We were together at Kawe Secondary School with my cousin, and we created a group called the Boys to Men.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a group called the Boys to Men. So from that, I knew that this is what I wanted to do with my life. This is where my heart is taking me. This is my passion. I want to share this. I was excited. What if I could be on stage and 1,000 people are watching me? So that's where it all started. Later, when I was about 13, 14, 15, somewhere there. Okay. That's when the passion grew, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do with my life.
And do you remember your first time in a music studio?
My first time in the music studio was Mike Linyama in Lusaka West.
Okay.
That was my first experience. That's way 20 years ago. We were in Lusaka West, me, Mainza. That was the first time I heard my voice. And that blew me away, because when you hear yourself singing, I discovered that it's different when you're doing live music. You can think that you're on point, but when you go in the studio, then when you say, this is so off, that's when you start hearing, I'm not on key, I don't understand, why can't I fit in the instrument? That's when I realized, someone told me, you have to train your ears to hear what you're singing. Wow. So these two have to connect. So every time something is coming out of your mouth, it has to bounce back into your ears. That's how you know, okay, this is the right note, this is an off key. That was my first time. That's 20 years ago with Mike Linyama. It was exciting. It's a whole different time when there was literally no music equipment. Just recording a song was so expensive.
Yeah.
It was expensive. Putting a song on a CD was really expensive. Me and Mainza got to experience that when we paid 400 kwacha just to have an instrumental.
What?
And 400 kwacha 20 years ago?
Yeah.
400 kwacha 20 years ago. We worked for that 400 kwacha. Wow. We labored to raise 400 kwacha just to put a single instrument on a CD, just for us to listen to.
Wow.
We didn't even take it anywhere. We're just excited,
So you were just using it to rehearse and just to...
We could exchange. I'd go with it at home. I'd go and listen to it. Mainza would get it the next day. He'll go and listen to it. So there was that energy of... We were in a world where a lot of people didn't understand, and it was so difficult to be a musician because there were so many other genres of music, foreign music, that was on number one. Rumba was on number one. R&B was on number one, and that's what we had to struggle with.
So you and Mainza go way back, and some people actually think that maybe Mainza's only friend in the industry was maybe someone like Daddy Zemas.
No, man.
Maybe others would think that maybe he only made music with Joe Chiwangu because of the Meltdown or the Mondo days. Little did we know that you were also part of that journey.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Mainza is a brother, man. Mainza, when I met Mainza, the chemistry, the friendship, we've been cool with each other for so many years, man. I think we understood each other. We knew where to do boundaries, even when we're expressing ourselves. If I don't like what he's doing in the song or all that kind, we've been friends for over. He's a brother. He's not even a friend anymore. Yeah. He's a family guy who stayed at my house when he was in Kabwe and the parents had to move to another town. We stayed together for 2 years. Little did I know that I would come to Lusaka and stay with his family for another 2 years. You understand? So he's a brother. So
friendship goes.
Exactly. So I saw him from being a rapper. Mainza couldn't sing a note. He couldn't sing a note.
Mainza used to rap.
Yeah, Mainza was in Kumo, was in Heavy D, and all these other rappers, the Flipboard Squad, LL Cool J. But I think the inspiration came more when he met me, because there was that, and he loved. He said, "Yeah, I think singing is better." Little did I know, this guy taught himself how to sing in 8 months to where he is right now and becoming one of the best vocalists in the country. So
wow.
He's a brother, he's not a friend.
Amazing. Yeah. This episode is powered by Fast Mobile, and we're moving fast from one story to another. And right about now, I'm about to ask Bob Mully about another close friend of his. So when you moved to Lusaka, another close friend of yours that you got to meet is Kangwa, aka Exile, and now Israel. Tell me about that.
Yeah, there was a guy called Muya. I don't know if you know Muya, very talkative guy, very sharp, very nice person. Was also into the music business. He always had interest in music, promoting, producing. You could play a little bit of that. So there was a studio at North Mid where there's Zanako, those flats upstairs. Yeah. So we were renting that flat. It was costing us like $1,000 a month.
What?
Yeah, because I was into advertising. He was working. We were doing advertising. That's when we met Exile. Because it's tiny little thing. Came to the studio. We were even making fun of him. Here's a humble guy, walked in and started rapping. But the knowledge that Exile has always had, brilliant, smart human being. So he came, he started rapping. I said, hey, I said, young blood, let's do something together. We ended up doing Woza. Little did I know that this guy could sing.
I remember Woza. Let's get into that one.
Woza.
Remind me of the chorus. I know there's Musimbi Wangu somewhere.
Woza, Musimbi Wangu. Woza, baby.
Those were the days, man.
Yeah, we did. That was me and Exile. He wrote that song. Let me give Exile credit for that. He wrote that song. Then a few months later, found him singing in the studio. I said, dude, you can sing. I said, I'm a rapper. I said, no, don't be afraid to express who you are. If you're a rapper, you need to choose where you need to be. You can't be both. You have to choose, because people won't accept you. Are you a rapper or you are a singer? What do you want to do? That's how we switched.
Wow.
So when you ukambela Exile even now, just ask him to sing anything. You'll be shocked. But the vocal, not vocal, the keys, the high pitch, machani, makona, very intelligent human being.
Wow.
That's the gen. So this whole history is huge. There's a lot of things that we can talk about, but we can't preempt everything in this time that we're giving. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing stuff. Another brother that you got to meet in Lusaka is Kelvin Mwesa. And the
Kelvin.
two of you made magic. Like all the music that you did together, we literally felt maybe this is like the rebirth of that meltdown we once experienced between Mainza and Joe, where you're thinking like Kelvin and Bob make very good collaborations, and you would think, why don't they do an album together? I think maybe we're almost doing an album.
We were almost doing an album. We were supposed to do an album for Super Shine, but things didn't go so well. I think Super Shine had to leave at some point. Kelvin, we met also 20 years ago when he had the studio at he was staying at Tuma Meza Flats, I think. He had the studio and came to me and said, no, he's always been sharp, even in talking, Kelvin. No, now Shaboy, just pay me this much,
I'll produce you.
And I'll produce you, or I'll get Sebastian to do it for you. And when I'm young, he's too sharp for me, this guy. Then I told him,
Okay.
But little did we know, one thing led to another. We started doing music together. We started doing events together. We started hanging out. I think I spent a lot of time with Kelvin in Lusaka. Close to over 15, 18 years. We were always together.
Yeah.
If I know you guys used to see, and Louie X would testify to that.
Yeah.
So it also came from being friends, being a brother. I ate in his house. I met his parents. I could go and sleep. It's like that. So
amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Is he the one that introduced you to people like Rabada, MC Wabwino, and Louie X?
I actually introduced myself to Rabada at Findeko House. I was coming from Kabwe, nishindef mapakuli matawa na tankrose kofe pa Findeko. To me, Findeko was new, that kind of excitement she building.
Is it when Thomas Nielsen had a studio up there?
Yeah. Okay. And I wanted to go there that day. So I found them.
What studio was that? Zintastic? What was that studio?
Was it Zintastic?
No.
It was I'm trying to remember. It's so long ago, man. We can just say Thomas Nelson's studio, yes. I found them standing outside Findeka House. There was JK, MC Wabino, Nasty D, and a few other celebrities that time. I walked up to MC and I said, Bamdala Zona, it's an honor meeting you, Zona, na Wabwino Zona, maybe one day twice have Mbapo Pam. Mwache ya, kuposa gofia mano, waishiba. Kabiye kairi.
He never loved inconveniences.
Yeah,
it was real like that.
Brushing you off, but I understood him because people told me that's his character.
Yes.
So I said, Chantanfia Chumdala Zone. A few months later, he was the one calling.
Wow.
Bob. Yo, Bob Mully. Nata, we've met already, Mdala. You tatua kumana po nata otori kumene pam finde kosha. Ayo mwache niwevo yo.
Wow.
Isaubike huku munimbo.
Wow.
He would literally drive you in the studio. Sometimes he would pay you, not because he will pay you or he doesn't want to pay you. Not because he doesn't want to pay you. Because he wanted you
He's training you.
He's training you. So that's MC Wabino. He's always been, he was a big brother to all of us. And he pushed us. That is one of the hardest working people in the industry. I don't know, 9 albums?
Wow. He's got over 21 albums.
21 albums. That's like masterclass. Who sits down to do 20 albums? Only Oliver Mtukuzu did that.
Yeah.
But that's MC Wabwino. That's when we met. We did J.O.B. controversial video. I did a lot of songs with my MC, man.
So I was about to tell you how I met him myself, because I heard you say first it's like he's chasing you. The next time he's the one calling you. Yeah. Same thing. I go to this studio called Soundwave, and I know people think Soundwave is just this sound company. There was a studio back then.
There was a studio that shaped a lot of us.
So we're at Soundwave Studios, and then this man comes and it's his session. It's his time to be in the studio. So I'm busy dilly-dallying, and I'm talking to Jerry Fingers and Ringman about how I needed to go and get a CD, buy a CD so that they can burn some music for me. And I'm there, and MC is looking at the time, and he's just looking at me. I'm like, big man, how are you? Wabwino bunch. He greets me, you know. But he's impatient with me and he's saying, "Iwe mufana, nchoka mu studio, ni time yanga." So I said, "No, big man, I was just trying to see if they can give me chance to quickly rush and buy a blank CD." Then, ufuna CD, nina ma blank CD tenga, iwe choka mu studio. So my first experience was him chasing me from the studio. But then the next thing was, this one day I received a phone call. And he got my number from Jerry Fingers. So he calls me and says, "Iwe mufana ati unkala pasaidi pakangwa." Say, "Nimandani ya vakansi. This is MC Wabino. Bwera pa filling station hapa so."
Oh yeah.
Bamdala nikaribeno samba bwera. So I get there, he says, "Ngera mu motoka, tenda ku studio." So that's how I did the intro on JOB.
Oh my God, yeah.
Then we went to shoot the video at Lusaka Playhouse.
Oh yeah.
And you gave me the clothes that I wore. Remember that red jumper that I wore in there?
Oh my God, seriously, Jesus Christ.
You had such a lovely red jumper, and I always looked at it. I was like, one day,
I've always loved clothes. Serious. Yeah, we shot the first part. Did we do the whole video?
Not the whole video. I think some parts.
Then we finished it off at his house. I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's MC Wabwino for you. Big brother, crazy, but also very direct.
Yeah. And tell me about your relationship with Louie X.
Louie X. Louie X, my friendship, what happened that really cemented my friendship with Louie X. And I know he might not even remember this. I borrowed money from Louie.
Oh yeah.
Nalikongweleko kamane, weshalepo kuwesha. So nale tandinga twanea ishinalaluba.
Okay.
So I think I samula balandele la bagaya. We actually had a little confrontation. We exchanged words here and here, but it came to a point where I understood that no, wait a minute, this is my bro, man. This is my brother. We talked it out. I paid it back. Our friendship has been nothing but glorious, man.
Yeah.
One of the most gifted human beings, kind, thoughtful, patient, and always giving. He has done so much for the industry. He wrote a lot of songs for people, though he doesn't get the credit that it deserves. He wrote some of the biggest songs for me that people ended up loving, like Once Again, Wonderful Time. He wrote that part in
Once Again. Let's go. Nakabiri nebo dimuchtemwiko
batinaleti nshakabwekeshepo
nalemona kwati nshakatemwepo mumi wandi. Oh, that song.
That is the famous Louie X.
I love her every day, I love her every night. I'm gonna cherish my baby for the rest of my life.
Louie X. Louie X. This is a guy who literally convinced me that you can sing without singing.
What?
That was talking. That wasn't singing. He just said, just put a little bit of flavor in certain corners. Make it sound like you're singing, but you're rapping, you're talking. So it's three different things in a song.
Wow.
That's where I said, Oyumuntu, Nilevo Inang, but nice person, man, nice person. Not because I know him, but because I know where we've come from, who he is, and just the personality. Is that guy. And he's that guy. And I love people who tell you the truth.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Someone will tell you, no, do ABCD, but that's Louie for you.
And I love the song Wonderful Time. What he did there. Tonight I'm gonna do a special date. Celebrate. True love is what you get.
He used to call it a New Jack Swing. Louie X was the first person to say, this is a New Jack Swing.
Wow.
This is a new flavor in Zambia music. It worked for JK. It worked for Kelvin Mwesa.
That was Louie X's writing as well.
X, exactly.
Yeah.
So his power of writing spans over decades, and we need to give credit.
Yeah,
we need to give credit to people like Louie, man, because without Louie, a lot of people wouldn't have had 10 number one songs on the local rhythms countdown. You know, so for me, I saw everyone during that time, and that's why I appreciate everyone. That's why I give love.
Yeah.
People don't understand, why are you so friendly? Why do you support other people? I said, because I want everyone to succeed.
Wow.
I want everyone to succeed.
You have a big heart, man.
I think for me, it's just Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Ubuntu. That my father was like that. He was a cool guy, Namanga guy, talk quiet but very friendly.
Yeah.
And I get that from Bali Bali.
I'm enjoying this conversation courtesy of Fast Mobile Center for today's best technology.
Yeah.
And I'm with the amazing, legendary Bob Mully.
Thanks.
One other great friend and colleague of yours is Leo Moyo.
Woo.
And you guys did amazing things together.
Leo Moyo.
AKA?
Leo, aka Chameleon.
Yes. Woo.
Dude, Ujamuntu the first time, I remember that time Kelvin had the #1 song, JK had the #1 song, a few other artists were like ruling the industry. Then comes this guy with a lisp. The day that first single ya Chameleon in Achoka, I think the whole country shook.
I know.
And months later, when he released his first album, platinum album, all the songs in that album went to #1. They were just switching. This week there's a new song in the same album. Leo is, how would I say, Leo's gift is unimaginable. Up to now I still don't know anyone who can do harmonies like Leo. If Leo decides to do a chorus for you, you feel it. The level of singing, the way he does is to make a small voice. I don't know if it's the lisp, but there was a time he told me, no, he grew up in South Africa. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know this. Leo was at college in South Africa and used to play in a band, a white band. Mm-hmm. So he got most of that knowledge playing with professionals. So when he brought it back here and he used that, Leo was nothing but this guy, Chameleon AI.
It's interesting because when I had a conversation with him on this show, he described you the way you are describing him, and then he further added that you are a perfectionist.
Oh yeah. That is a problem. If you're gonna ask me to do something, it's better you walk out of the studio, because I don't want to be embarrassed. But on top of it, I don't want to embarrass you. I always believe if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
Do it right. Give me time in the studio. That's my slogan. Give me time. Give me 3-4 hours. Go and play, then come back.
Yeah.
You have what you are looking for. I'll try and do my best to make sure that you are happy.
Yeah.
Leo, Charlie gave me a platform that no one else gave me. These guys made it so possible for me. Even the first flight I took was because of Leo. Wow. My first plane ride was because of Chameleon. I'm probably the most #1 fan of Leo. I know every single song of Leo. I knew it by heart from beginning to end. I loved Leo's music.
I actually remember a time in Chilenge at Soundwave when he released a single called Kashiwandi. And you were so happy. I remember you singing it like constantly that day. Kashiwandiwe Sheni kwisawaya Kashiwandiwe Sheni kwisawaya.
That's Chameleon for you.
Yeah. So you go ahead.
He's Leo not only in Zambia, but I got a chance to tour with Leo around Africa, 3, 4, 5 countries. Everywhere we went.
I remember something. He featured you on a very, very, very huge record, and to this day, that's one of your biggest features.
Oh yeah.
Called Kakabalika.
Wow.
And interestingly, a lot of people don't know that you are on that song. A good number of people don't know. A good number of people do know, but the reason that some of them don't know is maybe because
I wasn't even in
you
the
were
video.
Not credited maybe on the cover and you never appeared in the music video. But I think the video was done around the time that you had been on tour with him when he was launching, and you guys were so busy. I don't know what was going on.
We were so busy. We were so traveling around the country. We were making so much money. We had money everywhere. You had money under the bed. You had money in your shoes. You had money in your pockets. You had money in the car. You had money with your girlfriends. Let me just say it. We had girlfriends, not girlfriends. We had girlfriends who were young, were excited. We're young, we're excited. Nobody's going to get upset. They were not there. So, Kakabalika, I remember that day I was in Kabwe when I received the call. Twale nwa chibuku.
Okay.
Kulukanga. Chibuku. Twale nwa sana chibuku. Ebu wala waliko. Chibuku fefuma container na chiputula feed.
Brown na white.
Brown na white na makapa. Mrefu isako na mata. I did a song with someone, then Charlie heard my voice. Charlie Mulalami, Sling Beat CEO. Yeah. Looked for my number. That's how committed Charlie was. And that time, quite if I'm a grrrr, phone ya kalearia. But how we found the number ya kunganda, I still don't know. Called me, says, oh, this is Bob. And hello, but I don't know about tomorrow kulusaka. So when he called back, I said, Charlie, what we said? No, this is Charlie. You know Charlie that time. This is Charlie from Sling Baits. So I said, I said, no, it's me, Bob. So what would do? Where are you? And you're in Kabwe. Okay, how much is Kabwe? Can you come to Lusaka? It's Charlie. It's Sling Mumutimanja. It's Sling Baits. Even if it's just to go and say hello, na lie. That's how we sent money. Got on a bus at 8. Reached Lusaka. I made a mistake. I only told him to send me money for the bus fare. So I walked from town center to Avondale.
What?
To Avondale.
What?
That's my experience with that song.
You walked to record that hit song?
I walked. It took me about 3-4 hours. I got to Avondale, Pakageti, Nakasalu, Naputuma Kaniva, Shani, Nakuntako. But I know I was even smelling Ichibe. Who are young, man? So now he looked at me and says, Bob, are you okay? I said, oh, okay. But he noticed that there was something, but this guy hasn't eaten because my lips were white. So I walked in the studio and he played 20 instrumentals.
Wow.
He played 20 instrumentals. And he says, pick a song. I want you to feature on Leo's album. That was way before Leo even put his vocals.
Okay.
I went in, sat down, picked that song. I don't know why that instrumental spoke to me. I listened to it. I was so tired. I was hungry. I was thirsty. And I didn't want to disappoint Charlie. I said, God, this is an opportunity. Let this one work out.
Oh my.
30 minutes later, I walked out. Charlie says, you want something? I said, no, I'm done. He says, you're done? I said, yeah, I'm done. Are you sure, Bob, you're done? I said, I'm done, Ndala. Okay. Charlie, I won't listen to it. I'll listen to it later. I want it to soak in. So that's how he gave me 800. That's how I kept that money and I started walking back to town. Katwishinga mungulu shishive. For me, it was like I walked back to town, got on a bus, went to Kabwe. A week later, I was friends with Kelvin. Then Kelvin called me and said, Nandela nimbo nacha na Chameleon. Kelvin said, this song is going on radio next week. This will be the biggest song in Zambia.
What?
Kelvin Mwesa. He says, I heard that song, Roy. It will be the biggest song next week when it goes on local rhythms. Monday morning, Kalumba Chikonde played that song. By evening, it was on repeat request. 2 weeks later, 2 months later, 3 months later, agriculture and commercial show. Charlie called, where are you? You need to come and perform this song. Now here's a guy, a small boy in Kabwe, dirty. But I've got a song I featured on. It's been on #1. So I became a superstar Kabwe Kuja. I would literally walk into a club, people would buy me drinks. They were so excited because Kabwe is like a family.
Yeah.
And everyone knew each other. Traveled to Lusaka that day. To cut the long story short, I found policemen outside Showgrounds main gate. They were waiting for me with a Land Cruiser. So I introduced myself. Oh, are you a boy? Okay. Well, I'm done. They started escorting me, an entourage of policemen. So people didn't understand, how was this guy? looking all funny, Kakaniva. They walked me all the way to the main arena.
Wow.
Took me behind stage. 18,000 capacity much ground much. The main arena kuja. I was shaking. I was literally goosebumps shaking. I said, this is too much for me. Leo performed, then he introduced me. There's another person who's in this song that I want to introduce to you guys. Got on stage. That's the first time I literally saw women crying. When my part came, I sang only one line. I started crying. God's honest truth, I cried that day. The entire main arena, people were singing along to my verse, a verse that I wrote. When God decides to bless you, He blesses you even before you know He's blessed you already. When that happened, I was like, Lord, what is this now? Women crying neftenge. I don't know why that song spoke to women, but I feel like it was the situation they were going through, a lot of them at that point. For me, that was the birth of Bob Mully, and I will always respect Charlie. I will always respect Leo. These two dudes could have picked anyone else to be on that song, but Charlie chose me. That's the respect I have for Mr. Mulalami by Charlie, by Mulalami. One of the best producers, CEO this country has ever seen. From that time, it was just... I was everywhere, man. I was receiving calls. I was making mad money, just being behind Chameleon. The only time I got on stage was to sing my part. But I was getting a 15,000 kwacha per show. That time, that was a lot of money. Young, foolish. We were just playing. Did we make money? Yeah, we made money. Did we have people to advise us? No.
Wow.
But it's a journey that most of us have taken, and we're here just to say, if you're making money now, make a plan for it. Invest.
Wow.
Open to my booth here and there, make money. That's what it is, because there's always a time when it becomes dry. No matter how special you are, it becomes dry. The well dries. Because it has to go to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's just the way life is.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom, man. It's the first time I'm shedding tears on this show.
I was like, who's smoking in here? Why is B-Flow crying? Somebody's smoking. Who the hell is smoking in here?
That Kakabalika story has really touched my heart, man.
It's a powerful song. It opened doors for me. And I think it still does.
Yeah.
It still does.
Yeah.
Because people who know, big people who know me and say, I'm Fanawanga, that song. For me, this is what I will say. On my opinion, I think it's still one of, if not the biggest song that ever played on Zambia radio. Kakabalika was that big.
Wow.
I saw that even in other countries that we went to. That's how big it is. I saw that when we performed in front of Bingu, the late Malawian president, for his daughter's birthday in Malawi. I saw that.
Wow.
So kudos to Leo and Charlie for giving me that opportunity, and I will always be grateful for that.
I'm so happy because I feel like even Charlie doesn't always get the credit that he deserves for what he's done, and I'm so happy that you've given him his flowers. Right,
genius.
That's really amazing, man. And I know you've also gone on to help lots of other younger artists. At one point, you helped B-Flow, you helped many other people. One of those notable songs that you also helped to shape and turned out to be a big hit is a song called Akanika.
Akanika was a fluke.
Okay, really?
It was a fluke. It was a fluke when I went to Cabin Studios. Bishop, again, another family. Bishop, Jerry T, family, brothers, friends who became family. Love this family, the mom, that's home for me. It was a fluke. I think I was just, let me a guy per studio. Then I found Baton, who's actually now working for Stanbig. I think it's with Stanbig now. Yeah, Baton, the guy who, the owner of the song. People think it's my song. It's not my song. I just featured on that song. So Bishop was like, unaye anivutisa uyamba kudala kusakila chorus. Okay Bob, nza kudyesamo. Kai those days ikwenze kudyesamo. Nata voice ningaimbe woifunika ya Coca-Cola. That's how Bishop paid me. The producer paid me. Then I said, I still need the Peter boy. This is just for me to buy a drink. It is what it is.
Okay.
Then I went in. I think that part also took like Akanika. That was a one take song. Kanganeka kamani peleka konsekwamene ni mafuno enda. One take. 1 hour later, I left. Back it, I said, but it hit 10 years later.
Oh, it took some time, huh?
It took some time. Kanganeka became a popular song 10 years down the line.
Wow.
Then it became a TikTok sensation 9 months ago. It trended on TikTok. Big time, yeah. There was numbers. It also boosted my page. Got a few followers on That's what music is, man.
Now, I'll tell you that I am the Louie X on that song, so I need my royalties. So Barton came with this beat, and he was playing a beat. I think he got it from Kelvin's studio. So he came to OC's studio in Woodlands, Obama Records.
Serious?
Played me the beat and said, I really want to do this song, but I need help with the verses. So I penned the verses for him.
Are you serious?
And we rehearsed together. Then he went and recorded his parts. The next thing I just heard a Bob Mully chorus.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't write that song.
I'm telling you, ask Barton.
But he did justice to it.
Yes, he
had
did.
a nice voice.
Great
he did
job.
justice to it. Kudos to Barton. You wrote Kanganeka.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Ask him. I was the Louie X on that song, doing my thing in the background.
No more work for Louie X. No more work for that brother. He's worked too much.
Nice.
Serious.
Yeah.
Kudos to that, man. It definitely still is a big song. When it plays in the club, you'd think, why are they playing this song? Because we all don't want to listen to our songs. I don't like listening to my music. It's a good song. It's a big song. Even now, when people invite me, but we had a friction with Barton because I used to perform it a lot. And he said, no, you can't be performing my song. I said, dude, you didn't pay me. I'm going to perform.
So interestingly, internationally, that's how it's done.
We're good mates. He's my brother.
You play the part on the song. That's what we do. But in Zambia, for some time, I think we were a bit uncomfortable with hearing that the person who had featured on a song was performing it somewhere. But we've grown.
When you release a song, it becomes a hymn. Yeah. So I can do your song and just say cover by Bob Mully, song by B-Flow. And you won't do anything to me. I'll even put it on my page. It's a cover. I'm not stealing it. I'm saying cover. It's a cover. It's karaoke.
Exactly.
Like I did Roberto, Beautiful Woman.
That was nice. I remember that one, yeah.
You know? I called my brother. I said, dude, I love this song. I'm doing a cover.
Yeah.
But Roberto doesn't like that people doing a lot of his songs. Not because he doesn't want people to do it, but he just feels like people should just do their own songs. But I said, you are my brother. I'm doing it. I did Beautiful Woman. And I said, cover.
Yeah.
Song by Roberto Band. The hymns. Anyone can do my songs. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
You're giving love and support to your fellow artists, and you're telling them this is a good song.
Yeah.
This is a good song, so I want to keep pushing it in my own way.
That's the culture we need to introduce in our country, actually. Yeah, good stuff. This episode of Zed FLOWback is powered by Fast Mobile, the center for the best technology in Zambia.
Yeah.
And I'm with the amazing Bob Mully.
Thank you, man.
That Kakabalika part, I know there's someone out there saying, go check a part kaba Bob Mully kaja. So just the Uliana Mayo, that part. Go verse.
I might forget one or two words.
I'll remind you.
You remind me.
That's why I'm
very good. You're like an encyclopedia.
Or you can even call me encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia.
Uliana Mayo pariata kweto mwaume epwari alole shakuri ena.
Asunga abana
Dio kafe.
Then you say balole shakuri
ena bakukwata fyonse mami twalalie shilelo mami ninsapula ine alala ikoselesha eka pakukwata
kamulandu
abana bakwe bachubushiku ngalala alolesha
alila
fyonse afwayo muntu akumwe batifika bafe bwino nokurulusha mfilamba fyakwe Kakabalika nobe.
Sorry about me forgetting. I haven't been on stage for a while, man. So you tend to forget your lyrics here and there, but it always comes back.
Beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful stuff. I really love it. Before we conclude, would you mind sharing some of your most memorable experiences in the industry in terms of what you would call challenging moments, even just one, and also what you would call a very sweet experience in the industry?
One of my challenging moments that I still regret up to now was I was actually supposed to be on the Daddy Zima's album.
Wow.
The first album. Got in the studio, they gave me a platform, but somewhere along the way, I just felt like, I think it was just meant for Mainza to do all this, to feature on all the songs. I couldn't sing. I kept on singing off keys throughout every song they gave me. That was challenging, it was painful, I cried, Zima's comforted me. He says sometimes when it's not for you, it's not just for you. And I think Mainza was in that zone of that music because he's the one who played it, so he understood it more. A few hours later, I accepted. For me, that was painful, but I wrote Chivava.
What?
Yeah, I wrote Chivava. The chorus, I wrote Chivava.
Really?
Then Moon City Club. And that time it was before Black. I remember Leo in the crowd screaming for me. He was just a fan, Leo Muntu.
Yeah?
Yeah. The handsome savage.
From Black Muntu.
We performed with Zimas. It was a live show. Finished the performance. There were no more songs to do. Zima says, come up with something. I want to create a song. Hush, Chivava, Zamba Vugulila, Chivava, Hush, Chivava. That's how that's so Chivava. Then Zimas took it, started freestyling. That's how Chivava was born. For me, but one of my most memorable performances was in Congo.
Okay.
Under Kayembe Jantemba, when we performed in Congo.
Yeah.
For me and Leo, that is our best performance.
So when you say Leo, because you're on first name basis, people
Chameleon.
Chameleon.
When Kayemba took us to Congo, it was the Lubumbashi Agriculture and Commercial Show. We stayed there for a week because the whole show was for a week. We were the first headliners. We were the first to perform. We performed so well that the whole week, whoever was performing on stage, it was our video playing on the screen behind.
Wow.
Yeah. For me, that was like, this is like the highlight of my career. And that was the first time I experienced when you're doing an event at that level, always invest in good equipment. There was a South African setup and I said, wow. When you breathe into the microphone, you could literally hear your voice in the stadium. Wow. For me, that was exciting. It made it easier for me to perform because I've always perfected the performing, especially my vocals, volume, position. For me, that was memorable. We had fun. Congo was nice. Kudos to Kayemba Jantemba.
Beautiful stuff, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. When you were singing the hook for Chivava, it reminded me of the genius in you in terms of the simplicity and the melodies and the sing-along, like Chivava. Just that Chivava, that repetition, Chivava. It reminds me of what you did on Ozzy's song Nandi. Nandi, then you were doing that. Just say the word. Just say the words.
Na 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 na.
Just say the word. Just say the word. Just say the word. Just say the word. How did you even record that?
Never leave me. If you're doing a project, don't leave me in the studio and you walk out. I'll start backing. I'll pick songs I like. I'll look at the window if you're chatting. I'll say, let me back. I'll do 2, 3, 4 backings. I'll switch off. I'll go to the next song. I did a lot of backings at Sling Beats, and a lot of them didn't know I was in the backing vocal. But Charlie knew. Charlie knew. I have that habit. If I walk in the studio, you're doing a good song, you walk out. I'll do 2 lines and leave. No, because I always felt like I need to put something. This chorus is not done. Let me put my touch there.
Yeah.
So, but I told Ozzy, I was like, but Ozzy has always been cool. I was like, okay, sounds cool.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but it is what. I said, I also queer. Well, no, I'm not upset. Sounds good.
Wow.
So
great stuff, man. I know we can go on and on because the stories are amazing and there are a lot. We actually need a part
crazy,
2.
Yeah, crazy stories.
But I'm just glad that you made it today for us to just have our first part of the conversation. But I'll give you an opportunity to mention anything else that you think is important for people to know out there, maybe which we might not have said now.
Okay.
If you can't remember off the top of your head, it's all good. We can still have it
I think for me, the advice will go to all the young artists that are pushing and then they want to be somebody, or they want to make it, or they want to become a superstar in the industry. Hard work, man. Patience, determination, commitment. You have to commit, man. Music is a jealous thing. When you start music, it doesn't want you to do anything else. That's how bad music is. So if you're going to be an artist, you have to make sure that 90% or 75% of your time should be spent creating and being in the studio. You cannot ask for a light if you haven't worked for it. Woo. The struggle is real. They're even lucky. It's a better time to be an artist because there's social media. There's so many platforms you can use to push. There's so many influencers you can use to get numbers. But you need to understand that it's a business. You can't always get favors from people. If you got a 300, 2,000 kwacha and you want to go drinking but you want to do a song, I'd rather you invest that in an artist. You walk up to Biflo and say, even 3-4 lines, okay, bridge. If you are that honest, Bible is gonna say, okay, but I see the commitment in here. Okay, just put maybe you even say, if I could check Agaska 5 in Fanawang. It is what it is. You have to commit, you have to invest, you have to sow seeds. It's not easy. It's not easy. Whatever thing that we went through, what we labored for, sleeping in my dorms, going to the studio in the morning, walking from Chilenge to town, so that we can create a platform for our young sisters and brothers, it's paying off now. So it's up to you now to carry the torch, but you have to work for it. Taking a picture on social media is not enough. You have to put the music behind the looks. Your music has to be good. Anybody can dress nice today. It's easy to take a picture, but let the music speak for you. Wow. Let the music speak for you. Let people say, Umfana Sevenza.
Man has been dropping gems, man. Nuggets. One more question for you. Where do you get so much of the wisdom that you share?
Pain and bad experiences. Pain and bad experiences makes you who you are. That's where the wisdom comes from. You have to go through it for you to understand and to know how to advise young people. You can't advise people if you haven't gone through it. You have to allow yourself to fail. When you fail, you have to allow yourself to stand up and keep pushing. But if you put in, the rule is the 10,000 hours. Promotion today, if you put in 6 months, guaranteed people are going to start listening to you, whether they like it or not. You have to be in their faces, you have to be in their ears. You have to make it a daily program. Every day when you wake up, you post your song, you do your TikToks every day for 6 months. Whether your song is nonsense, they're going to listen to you. Because when they keep hearing what else does he have? This guy? Exactly. There are a lot of bad artists even in our time who couldn't sing or write songs, but they became big.
Yeah.
They didn't have golden voices. They couldn't write a single line, but they became big. Why? They were consistent. They were consistent.
I forgot to ask you one thing. Since it's my show, I have the opportunity to still ask. We can close again and again. Apart from doing music and singing, composing and featuring, touring, performing and all these things that you have done, when you're not doing music, there are these other amazing things that you are known for, whether it's events planning and management, branding and whatnot. Just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I took the time because I knew at some point I'm not going to be that young guy anymore. The music thing is always going to be with me. I'll die singing. I'll stop when I'm no longer breathing. But you also have to allow yourself to understand the business. Why is it that I'm the one creating the material, but the people that are making the millions are the ones in the background? Wow. It's a business. You have to understand. You have to surround yourself with people who will teach you how to manage a show, how to do a marketing strategy, how to do a radio tour, TV tour, social media tour, TikTok tour. It's a business. So once you allow yourself to understand all these things, Then you say, I also want to learn how to be an MC. I want to host events. I want to do voiceovers. I want to create content. I want to do adverts. I spent half of my life learning all these things because I knew at one point I'm going to need something to fall on. But for me, it wasn't just one thing. I have allowed myself to learn all these things. So I'm simply eating from here, there. So if people want voiceovers, if people want me to do MC at the wedding, if people want me to do the marriage counseling on radio, I'll go. I get paid for that.
You do marriage counseling too?
I do marriage counseling. I've been doing it for 7 years now. Nimakwatilisa na vandevu bakulu nkalipira na dadi mwakula muleke mwakula pa mkwatira pa mwamvela namvela bashubukombe. So I'm there in my life, but it's a business. You have to understand how to. You need to learn how to even promote. You need to understand your brand. Yeah. You need to understand your brand. And a good example for me, what branding is, Your Maps. That's branding. That boy knows what branding is. He's not on a joking level. It's not even about the music. He's reached the level where it's just the branding. He can release a rubbish song today. We'll still dance to it. Why? Because we've accepted the branding. It's like Trade Kings. They'll create another cabal of soap. Just as long as it's Trade Kings, I'll buy and I'll feel good about it. Might not work for me, but just because it's Trade Kings. That's what branding is.
Wow.
It's a business. So all these young cats, and now I know they're making crazy money. Everyone is making crazy money. You can't get any of these young artists for less than 50 pin. They're making money.
True.
So they need now to start. That's what made Benna Puff Daddy, Jay-Z. It's not about them singing. They understand the business. So you have to learn. Yeah. You can only protect your brand if you understand the marketing and the account side of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man has a lot of knowledge and wisdom. Bob Mully, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much
Zed
for having
FLOWback.
me. I was even saying this guy will probably call me when I'm sick or
No. I have
or
to
when
give
I'm
you,
in Nakonde.
I have to give you your flowers now. I may not have them physically, but trust me, they are here.
Thanks.
And you have been amazing. Even today, I've learned so much from you, and I know that the people out there are so happy to see you.
Man.
So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure being with you, man. Thank you so much.
A big shout out to Tiptronic and a big shout out to the Center for the Best Technology in Zambia. I'm talking Fast Mobile. Ladies and gentlemen, you gave me the assignment and let me know, did I get 100% or is it still a distinction, 75%? I had Bob Mully, and if you want him back on the show, there's more that you need to know about him. Please just let us know and we'll definitely bring him back. Signing out.